Hello everybody and welcome back. Hopefully we can fix the streaming settings today at some point, but it looks like I am dropping 70% of frames again. And I'll try to do some micro adjustments here to figure out what I can do to fix this, but we're going to learn in public. That's the name of the series. And for some reason, I can't seem to adjust my frame rate. So we'll go ahead and figure this out over time. But that frame rate is hovering at about 40% of dropped frames. So I'm assuming that this is a little bit choppy. And again, I'll take any feedback for how we can make this better. If somebody's used OBS before, that would be really helpful. But we'll make do, and I'll learn from what happens today. Our goal for today's stream is to continue the work we did on Wednesday, where we successfully deployed the Just Lovely Events website to Vercel and connected it to Go High Level. So those are all really good outcomes. You can go to justlovely.events and see our work. You can even submit a form, and that contact form will be submitted to Go High Level, which is the CRM that we're setting up for Just Lovely Events to help them manage their customers and leads and prospects so that they can give great service to their customers and clients. Looks like that frame rate is dropping in a positive way. So it might be a little all over the map today. Hopefully my settings are improved, but I'm really glad to be back with you all. Yesterday we had a birthday celebration for my son, and McKenna put together this really beautiful Star Wars themed birthday for him, and it looked just great. So hopefully we'll have some photos to put on the Just Lovely Events website as inspiration. And that actually segues into our goal for today's stream, which is to make some final tweaks to the website. We're going to update the TinaCMS, which is the free open source content management system we're using for the Next.js website. I'm using a lot of technical libraries and some jargon here. So hopefully those of you who are following along are able to know what to Google or even know what to ask the AI for as you try to do some of these things on your own. And if you need any help, I'm always here to help. I work with a company named Cloud Elephants, where we offer fractional CTO services and solutions. What I intend by those offerings is to help people who are new to technology or just adopting technology in their organization. You need an expert. AI can get you 90 to 95% of the way now, and it really helps to have someone who's been around the block a couple of times help you out to get your solutions online, integrated with your different tools, so your business can function more automatically, more efficiently, and so you can scale up using AI and AI tools. So we're going to live stream building a business in public as an AI first, automation first company. Just Lovely Events is the first business we're going to be working on, but I've got a lot of different ideas queued up that we'll be working on together to show you the different ways that you can compose technology. So for now, it's Next.js, it's Cursor, it's Vercel, and it's Go High Level, a way for us to create a dynamic, mobile-first, web-based experience that's really fast and relatively inexpensive. And then from here, we're going to probably go work on my daughter's company, which is a e-commerce store named Rose's Fury, where she's going to sell paper puppet dragons that she's designed, and they're really cool and fantastic. So I can't wait to get on to supporting her next. Hit us up at cloudelephants.com. Again, my name's Ryan, and you can see some of our work there. We don't sell any tools or services that we're not actively using ourselves, and I'm really excited to help out whoever I can with technology and AI. Looks like that frame rate is much better today, so hopefully the stream quality is better, and this stream will go a little better. On Wednesday when we got the site live, the stream broke and stopped, so we missed the crescendo of that beautiful moment together. But it's all learning and it's all fun, and the series is, after all, named Learning in Public. So we're going to go ahead and anchor today as we do, because part of the intention of this stream is to get this much attention from Rick Rubin, who wrote The Way of Code and who I have been calling the Sun Tzu of our time. And we're going to read one verse from The Way of Code, which was inspired by the Tao Te Ching, and a really fantastic interpretation of the Tao Te Ching that tries to bridge the gap between sort of the hyper-literalist technology community and maybe a little bit more abstract / spiritual thinking that comes from the Tao Te Ching. So we'll read verse 6 and verse 6 from the Tao Te Ching together, and we'll get started with our work and intentions for the day. The reason we do this is because we are engaged in a creative act together. We are building something that has a digital medium. And so what we're trying to do is express our creative ideas on a digital canvas so that others can engage with the output of our minds. We're trying to align effectively our spiritual energy in a way that resonates with other people as they're looking to consume our work for different, potentially utilitarian outcomes. But ultimately, this is a creative endeavor and something of an artistic medium, regardless of how literal the code needs to be. I really like the juxtaposition of creative, flow-based, intention setting, and then vibe coding. And in today's episode, probably a bit of configuration and debugging, because that's what we're going to need to be working through, as noted in the description. So, The Way of Code 6. The spirit of the valley never dies. She is the primordial feminine, her womb, the root of heaven and earth. Her fertility always present. Use it, it will never fail. The spirit of the valley never dies. She is the primordial feminine. Her womb, the root of heaven and earth. Her fertility always present. Use it, it will never fail. This idea of the divine feminine is something that's really interesting. A lot of worldviews consider the expansive void, like the black background behind me, to be the canvas upon which all life / light emerges. And I think it's really cool to think of the primordial feminine being the root of heaven and earth, the canvas against which all else is created. That's pretty cool. So we'll see how different. I don't expect this to be all that different from the Tao Te Ching today. So 6, reading from this translation. This book, you can find it on Amazon. Just look for the picture. I'm not going to try to read the names and embarrass myself. The valley spirit never dies. It is the woman, primal mother. Her gateway is the root of heaven and earth. It is like a veil barely seen. Use it, it will never fail. The valley spirit never dies. It is the woman, primal mother. Her gateway is the root of heaven and earth. It is like a veil, barely seen. Use it, it will never fail. Take with it what you need. Okay, so let's go to justlovelyevents.com and we'll see where we're at. And then hopefully we'll make some changes together. So we got some feedback from McKenna on some changes that she wanted made to the homepage based on where we landed. I think for now she wants to start working on some professional photos for the different gallery images that end up being displayed on the site. So what we're going to do is pull down the images that are currently being seen, make sure that she can manage those in TinaCMS so that as the seasons change or as her branding and campaign changes and evolves, she can emphasize what she and Melinda want to emphasize on the homepage and the different pages. So we'll make some changes here. We have this problem, and I think I hopefully won't expose too much here, but we have this breaking problem in TinaCMS to where you can't actually handle changes in the CMS because we have a configuration problem. So we're going to be doing a little bit of debugging today, although I think I have it dialed in. And you'll see already that there's some new pages here, and I've made some of those changes already with Codex. As an aside, if anybody's using, for any other vibe coders out there, and wanted to note, I don't have any chat going today, so I'll respond to any questions or comments in the subsequent stream, which could be tomorrow or Monday, just depending on how my life turns out the next day or so. But Codex has really improved as a product and offering, where I think GPT-5 in Cursor is something of a mixed bag. It's really been effective as an agent and tool when I'm asking questions inside ChatGPT, in particular when I can have it think longer or use pro mode. But it's just not as good as Cursor Sonnet even or excuse me, not Cursor, Claude Sonnet in Cursor. For those of you who aren't vibe coding, this is what's called an IDE, Integrated Development Environment. It's a place where you can load up and execute code, get all sorts of, sort of benefits from an integrated ecosystem that interprets the text files, because all software is just text, and the text is interpreted in different ways by different systems. So here I have a CSS configuration. Even this actually has more complexity than it appears to have, where we're just setting up some configurations that tell your browser how to interpret markup, which is this language here. And even this is a bit more complex than it seems, but these by your web browser. And so, over the history of the internet, all of these different tools and systems and libraries have been put into place that make it, I was going to say more efficient, but that's not true. Make it easier and easier to give really rich and interesting experiences to people using a browser as a way to navigate a software that's deployed to the internet. So, these little tags, say this is a P tag, which stands for paragraph, and you'll see a div, which I love because it's an insult in the UK, but it sort of means empty placeholder. Again, fantastic insult to call somebody a dummy. The rules for how that looks in your browser are set by classes or class names, and those come from CSS. So what we're building here is a bunch of text files that then get interpreted by your browser. So we're setting all the rules for how information is presented to people, but underneath it all, it's just text files. And those, and I don't mean that literally like .txt, but I mean it's text. So these LLMs, large language models that can predict the next token, right, which a token is a chunk of a word, they're predicting the text. So that's one of the reasons why these LLMs are being so widely used in code, because it's just text prediction. And now that you can predict the type of text that needs to be used to solve some sort of coding outcome, you can present that code to whatever environment that's interpreting it to get your software outcome. So it's pretty cool that we're able to just configure in text things that become software, and your IDE, integrated development environment, ends up being the environment that allows you to sort of execute code before it becomes what you need to present to the server, which is a computer on a network in the cloud, or to your browser. So trying to hopefully teach a little bit about how this all works under the hood, and I'm sure the more technical folks will be like, hey, you're wasting our time. But if you're new to this and you're just vibe coding and getting your start, it's kind of useful to know what you should be thinking about and how all these pieces fit together. And that's, again, the intention of this series, is to learn myself and to share what I know so that people can get better at vibe coding. I want to help people unleash that creative being inside them, because there's so many great software ideas that can make the world better and help people collaborate and coordinate better. So talking a little bit about the IDE. So what is Cursor? Cursor is your AI wrapper. It's Cursor literally uses something that Microsoft released for free called VS Code. As in free, I mean open source. And they added an AI layer and AI tools on top of VS Code. So I have a few different here. I have VS Code 2. I have Sublime. These are old IDEs that introduce different levels of magic at different times based on how long you might have been doing this. So today, and then when you work with Cursor, you get to pick what AI model you're working with. And when I'm doing front-end code, GPT-5's pretty good. In fact, I think it's really great at front-end code. That would be like React and your website that goes in the browser. Anything more complex, it kind of goes off the rails and has been pretty unpredictable to me. So a little bit of feedback about what type of models we're going to be using and why. And then while things are working and rendering, we're going to hopefully also have I've got some AI research articles queued up so I can let my inner nerd out and we can talk a little bit about some of the really exciting advancements that are coming in AI and how we talked a couple episodes back very briefly about what the transformer architecture is and why the seminal paper, Attention All You Need, matters so much. And I think we need to introduce and sort of come to a shared understanding as less technical people about how broadly and widely applied this type of technology can be. It's really going to transform every industry, and the AI optimists, I'd probably consider myself in that category, tend to all share a common understanding of why this technology will be so transformative and what it means when it's applied in domains, ranging from plumbing robots through to biological prediction and scientific research. It really is going to be an incredible time to be alive. So I showed you that bug in TinaCMS. We're going to have to get a little bit technical here and dig under the hood. I already, though, seem to have that resolved locally. And it was working locally before, but I think I figured it out before the stream kicked off. So this is TinaCMS. It's free, open source. They have a cloud solution that if you need more than 2 people to be editing a site, you're going to pay about $30 a month. So depending on your needs, this is a relatively low-cost way to take your Next.js app. Oh, excuse me, I got to cough real quick. And make it so that non-technical marketing and business owners, stakeholders can edit and change the site as they want. We're going to then adapt the blog to be an inspirations page, and I've already started that work using Codex, and it quite literally did exactly what I was expecting, and set up the beginning of the configuration for the inspiration board. But generally the flow is going to be this. When a customer goes to book now, and this takes a second because it's got to compile. It's sometimes useful to see where it is in the process. When a customer makes an event request, those event requests go into the Go High Level CRM, as we showed on stream a few days ago. And let's show that. So we demoed this with, I believe, Bill S. Preston Esquire. And if someone makes, that's a Bill and Ted's reference, if someone makes an event request, this is what shows up in the CRM. So Bill Preston wanted to request a custom Star Wars themed birthday at some local kids jump park with about 30 guests. They have a budget of $1,750, and here's their goals. They want a banner, they want a balloon garland, and they want some goodie bags and centerpieces, and they want it sort of handled. And we can tag this request that says, hey, this came from the event request form. So we're gonna build some automations today, hopefully in Go High Level, that show, hey, when anybody submitted an event request, we want to market to them as if they are people who are really interested in having or hosting their own events. Ultimately, we probably want to fine-tune this a bit and then market specifically to narrow segments. Maybe ultimately we can have an AI identify, oh, this is a Star Wars kids birthday. We're going to market to them like they're parents of young children. Hey, this is an event request for a corporate event. Let's tag that request, and we're going to market to that person like they are a business. So we want to be able to handle our marketing differently, but today we're going to hopefully set up a basic automation that will just allow us to send what we find as inspiration back to the customer with a link to a page on our website. Now, what I'm thinking about for this is in the footer for now, although I think we can add it maybe in the header, we want to give some sense of a portfolio, and there's also an additional revenue opportunity here, in particular given the traffic. So you'll see that we need some work here. The images should show up all the time and not only on hover, and it's going to render again. I adapted the blog to be an inspiration page, and we've got a small break here. That's not a big deal. Effectively, what we're going to have, and I think it actually works in production, so that's a little bit strange. But when a customer goes to an inspiration page, they'll see a Star Wars themed birthday page, and they'll have a list of links, and those links could maybe even be Amazon affiliate links that if someone doesn't book our services but takes inspiration from the portfolio of work we've done, or maybe buys balloons and a birthday kit from that inspiration, then we can still get a commission or an affiliate fee for that transaction, which I think is pretty cool and could be another interesting way for Just Lovely Events to leverage their creative capacity and time. They'll promote and market their site. They'll have potentially thousands of different articles about different ideas for how to curate and plan different types of parties. And then those will also offer the ability to capture affiliate links, or even links to anyway, there's all sorts of things you could do with this. But excited about that. So we're going to adapt the blog and make sure that it can be managed. So let's go ahead and make some of these changes right away. So the first change I kind of wanted to make, like I mentioned, I think I already handled it. The logo they want to be added to the meta tag so that when you share the website, the logo shows up instead of the homepage image. We've got that handled. And they want to replace some of this creative with photos that emphasize or that are more illustrative and not necessarily sort of their camera phone photos, because I think they want to present the brand with a little bit more polish, in particular on the homepage. So we're going to go through and say the homepage, the services page, I believe, has a rotating banner. Yeah, this one they want to replace with a very specific image. So I'll go ahead and make that one. So on the services page, because we're using TinaCMS, it's going to be a content. Actually, we should be able to use the TinaCMS. So let's go to the services page. And the hero image, we're going to change with one of the images. This is the one I think they wanted, was the birthday banner from the 90th birthday party they did. So we'll go ahead and insert that here and save it. So ultimately, that is what it will take once we get TinaCMS fixed. So for now, it's just a content change, fairly minor. Now on the home page, it's a little bit more involved. We're going to go to the home page here. And I believe what they really want is some new illustrations. And this gives us a chance to work with Midjourney again as a group. And generate some photos that could be kind of appealing and on brand and in the palette. So I'm going to just take some of these that I've already made from the past that give a sense of like corporate events, but it's clearly pixelated and it looks artistic. So I think that's kind of nice. So we'll download this. This is going to be similar, and I might have already downloaded this, but we'll do it again. And then we'll do this one. And we'll kind of just give them a range of options based on what they like. I think this is kind of fun, but I'm not sure how that will go over. And then created some sort of simple artwork that I don't think we've aligned on the style of their preferences yet. So once I get some feedback about the actual design they want, or design style we want, we can use some of these simple illustrations that are meant to be sort of cute imagery that communicates the idea. One thing to note if you're building a website is people don't read on the web, which is a bit ironic because there's so much text and there is so much reading that does happen, but it's generally skimming. And when you are operating a website and you're using Google Analytics, you're going to find that, a lot of people are just sort of skimming through, and you'll see that because the time on site is very, very short. So what you want to do is try to communicate your products, services, opportunities, or key information as succinctly as possible and often as simply as possible. It's actually a really hard thing to do well, but if you navigate the web, you're going to notice there is text there for the people who are reading, and you got to think intentionally about where people are in the sales funnel. But generally speaking, a lot of websites are going to lead with images and simple text and very clear calls to action. So that's hopefully what we're going to iterate towards as we continue to improve the site. So, there's not any images here that I love, and I don't want to spend too many cycles on this. But it might be a fun way to merge both Midjourney and ChatGPT in creating images. I also have some videos that I created using Sora, which could be very useful too. And that's not how I want to do this. So let's go ahead and take these as inspiration, which are the ones I most recently added. Let's create promotional homepage images for Just Lovely events inspired by these, but with a higher resolution. This is really, there's no prompt art form here. Let's just see what it gives. And while that's working, we got to give it access to the create image tool, although it usually can figure it out on its own. And I think the images should be their own inspiration. So the thing I wanted to work on, so here, let's fix this bug first. So, and we'll try GPT-5. Actually, let's just try auto mode for now. In the services page, oh, that's the detail page. So we're going to look for these two pages. We're going to add this to the context of the chat. In auto mode, you're kind of rolling the dice with what model is chosen. I think as a general rule, you don't get quite as good outcomes, and that's why it doesn't affect your credits quite in the same way if you pick Sonnet, because it's the best model they have available. That's not like a max model. They charge you at a different rate. It's basically a different usage credit. So hopefully, as more and more open source coding models, one that I'll note here that's worth following is this KIMI K2. I believe that's a Chinese open source model. They're getting really great outcomes. So these models are going to just keep improving. But for now, as someone who kind of cares about the code working and not having to wrestle a ton with it, Claude is how I roll. But for smaller, more tedious or front-end changes only, I think we can get away with this. So let's go ahead and say, I've got this. Let's resolve this issue on the services page. And what it looks like is a fairly minor problem that has to do with a way a prop is being passed through. And I do kind of wish it would be useful, anyone from Cursor, if you're watching or see this, oh, that was the inspiration article. So I even told it, I attached the wrong page to context. And maybe there's a way to do this, but knowing what model was executed within the context of the prompt would be helpful and potentially useful to non-top overperforming in auto mode. Just a note. And I'm maybe a little bit skeptical or frustrated a bit with auto mode because I once accidentally blew away a repo I didn't have version control over or set up for. Okay, cool. So that handled the issue in the inspiration sample party page, which I think is good. So with that issue sort of fixed, we'll go back to the inspiration page, and I just want to look for myself because I've asked for this to be fixed before. And these inspiration cards, which should be in the components directory, they only show the image on hover. And I'm not seeing an exact reason why, but let me add this to cursor chat, and I'll clear this out, and I'll say the inspiration card only shows the image on hover. The image should always be visible behind color, an opaque color, branded color filter. And I want to update the party inspiration page font to take the font that needs to be here. And let's update this. Let's see. No. So I think it's being hidden. We'll just inspect the item ourselves here. That's not what I wanted. The image possibly, I'll have to investigate, is hidden behind the card color, perhaps due to absolute positioning, and only becomes visible when the card active. So hopefully it can debug it before me. Oh, it says it sees the issue. Okay, let's see what it does. So absolute, let's see if I remove absolute. That is not it. And that doesn't make sense either because I'm looking at the wrong element anyway. Let me fix what I did here. Nope. No dice. 0 for 2. Undo, undo. All right, let's use some code, actual code skills here. I'm wondering where the image background color is being set and what. So on this card, I believe it might, let's see what this does. It's not it. So let's go ahead and force the hover state. Let's force the hover state here. So I removed absolute positioning, and that wasn't it. So there's these different actions that can, okay, so when hover happens, and I know there's hover callout rules. Height. That So the hover is on the parent card here, as shown there. And we probably should look at the brand card to see what rules get set on the hover state. I'm not actually seeing any. Card when in a hover state shows, let's just see if we can ask, what styles change when the branded is in a hover state? Card is in normal state, the solid. Can we adjust, that's probably it, can we adjust the Z index on the image to ensure it's visible? That might not do it, or it might do it. The Z index is, so if X and Y, right, up and down would be X, Y would be across, right? Or maybe I have that background. X is across and Y is up and down, excuse me. Z would be in and out, so that would be the layer. And that seems to have fixed it. So it was the relative position of the image against the card that it's on. So once those images load, they should be visible. We need to bring the text forward now too. Okay, so Z index order, card text, card background image, then card itself, then card background. So where is that? Okay, that's where it's being set. And let's see if it just kind of handles that for the recompilation. The card text is not visible. Let's see if it can adjust on the fly. I would expect these to be something like Z20 or something, relatively speaking. Let's see. Nope. There we go. Cool. Well, that worked, and it did it faster than I could. So where is the purple? So let's keep these changes, and I want to make the cover color a little bit higher because and let's see. Oh, it fixed. That's the fix from the inspiration page detail itself. And cool. That seemed to have fixed it. Now we have inspiration. All right, so we've got that image fixed, and we want to update the home page. Let's use the content management system here. And now there should be nothing. I gotta save it. Let's see what happens if there's nothing. It should recompile. Hero gallery. And oh, okay, got it. So the hero gallery, let's now update the hero gallery. Great, that Hero is one of my favorite songs by Foo Fighters. Okay, let's now update the hero gallery to use specific media items instead of the portfolio. If there is only one item in the in the gallery, no animation is necessary. So now we should expect some changes to how that component works. Inspiration. Okay, so it updates the config of the hero gallery. And let's see what that looks like here. I'm guessing that should give us just the ability to reference a specific media item, like as in the other pages where we picked from the assets or images directory. So this is already on the home page, and I'm guessing the UI will update. This is good. It reindexes, which is good. It just takes a second. Looks like my settings improved because we're getting a much better stream quality. It appears here, at least. We're only dropping 12% of frames instead of 40, so that's good. That doesn't mean my computer's faster, but it does appear to be going a little bit faster today. Okay. While this is building, let's go back and check our images. Okay, super ironically, it's using... Okay, I like that. That's kind of fun. That's actually kind of fun a lot. Or really fun. Let's see if we can get it to use the logo. Or maybe just no text, actually. Computer's running slow. Okay. Lots going on. Okay. Let's keep the background and remove the text. Okay. So the home hero gallery just takes an image now as an argument, and we should be able to pick what image we want to see. And for now, we're just going to pick that SVG to even see if SVGs work. I don't actually know if they will. And to test our single image. Cool. So that's great. It doesn't have the right size and format, but that is what we want. There's no animation running, and it's just a single image, and I should be able to change it from the editor, which is exactly what we have. So it's changing the configuration in something of a loop, and that's causing my machine to run a bit slow. But we'll see if that's because there are multiple changes made, or if it's okay. If only one image, just display the image. Okay, and then we'll add a second. It updated. Okay, now we don't need to fetch the portfolio items. So these are all good changes. And here is what the content change was that we made in the editor. And now here is an update to the home page in the home content, and these are TypeScript changes so that we can communicate throughout the app what's expected. So right now it is not pulling what we expect. Let's see why that is. Cool. I wonder why it started animating. That looks good. Okay, let's go ahead and take these photos and optimize them. So if you remember from a few days back, I've got this little image optimization script that I wrote, and it just uses Node.js. This converts images for the web effectively, and that's here we go. Here's some of the fun sort of illustrations and placeholder images. And I know we're not necessarily in love with these images, but I think they're cute and playful and useful for now before we have professional images. So those are all PNGs, and we can look at the size of them before, and while we're kind of looking at content that's been generated, I have this as well, which is a little 10-second clip from Sora that I just told generate a balloon garland in the desert and do a drone fly through.